Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Critical Reactions. Your host, Bryan. I couldn't think of that word. Honestly, I'm a little anxious about getting into this one. We're going to be checking out Hail the Sun's Mind Writer, which just came out earlier this week. And, Hail the Sun's 2021 album, New Age Filth, was my album of the year. It is easily my most spun album from that year. And I still continue to listen to it. Every song on that album is an earworm. It's just, and I'm a little afraid, What if this next album isn't as good? So, I've been working up the courage. Let's just dive in. Let's check out what Hail the Sun is bringing to the table today. Oh, that bass.
Shroud myself into secret. I only trust me to keep it. The calls I get scream all at once.
Yeah, I love how the two guitars have the same accent rhythm but different patterns. That low versus high just keeps shifting back and forth on the verse there. Just holding those notes out. Really interesting to have the bass and guitar centered. I can't think of a single track off of New Age Filth that did that. Everything gets pushed out to the side where I expect them. Yep. We bring it back down. The control of just all the pitch is so good. Yeah, really cool weighting there. Ooh. Yeah. Very cool. Yeah. I'm stoked for this album. I didn't even know they were coming out with an album this year. This just kind of got dropped on my doorstep in Discord. They're like, "Hey Bryan, new Hail the Sun." I was like, "When did this come out? Why didn't I know about it?" Oh man. So yeah, right up my alley. So many very cool things. I mean, first of all, it's just the layering. We have the dual guitar thing, which is really neat. See, here's the thing: is when I found Hail the Sun, I didn't really notice how chaotic everything was, and I think it just has more to do with the composition than the production. But the two guitars are always doing different things primarily. There's like the bridge where they come together with that boom 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 boom, kind of get that Latin rhythm going on. But for the most part, our two guitars are doing different things, and there is a lot of quick picking on them as well, which creates some chaotic elements to it. Not super chaotic, a palatable chaos. And somebody, I think it might have been, I don't remember who it was, when they pointed out to me that they kind of sound like Mars Volta, and I can't unhear it now, especially after listening to Cassandra Gemini and how they produce their guitars and how they write their guitar sections. It is. This is like a palatable Mars Volta with specifically looking at just the vocal work. I mean the guitar work. But we got our two guitar layers, and they're pushed out to the side. We got our bass. Beautiful stuff. I don't remember the bass really having this kind of presence in their last album, so it's very cool to hear it front and center in this track. We have our drums, which are just phenomenal, continuing to bring the right amount of energy for each section. We're going to talk about that in a second because it's one of the things I love about this band is the shifting of energy moment to moment. But then we have the vocals, and on a first listen, I think it's really easy just to focus in on the main vocal track, but there are vocals everywhere in the background. There's oohs, there's ahs, there's swells, there's repeated phrases. There is a second set of vocals that are basically its own instrument in a lot of Hail the Sun's music. And I always love going back to their stuff and being like, oh, I never heard that vocal bit before. That was a neat little thing. Um, and I'm sure there's a lot here that I missed. I'm primarily only can remember the chorus, and we have these very beautiful legato note shifts with these ah ooh these this like metamorphosis from one note to another, just very gradually. And they're all over the place in the chorus and the background, and they're placed all over the sound sphere as well. Sometimes they're hard pans on one way, sometimes they feel below you, sometimes they're behind you. They're just like it's everywhere. It really is its own instrument, as I said. So yeah, the layers, man, that's one of the things I love about this band, and they killed it here. Um, Now the other thing I mentioned is energy from moment to moment, and I don't know if this is like a staple of their. I'm like I said, I'm a late fan. I've only listened to their latest album. I know, actually, I think I did try to. I think I started Mental Knives. I think was their 2016 album. I think I started that one, but I never made it through. I don't even remember how. I might have started it in a car ride with my sister when I was showing her the band. I don't remember. The album name sounds familiar, but I don't think I've checked the whole thing out. So I really don't have a lot of stuff to gauge about them. I have one very specific moment of their creative output to compare and contrast from. But what I pointed out in the verse there, where they'll start out kind of low and everything's kind of a little bit more slower paced. You don't really have so much speed in the left guitar. There's lots of suspended notes. The vocalist comes down a little bit in both octave and volume. And the second half of the phrase pushes it up. Our left guitar starts doing these 16th note runs. Our vocalist is, belting out these tones, sometimes moving into a raspy or a compressed clean. And then we bring it back down though. And this sort of energy control is something that I heard a lot of on their previous album. And I really love the ebb and flow of it all. It isn't just that the verse is quiet and the chorus is bombastic. There is a rhythm to all of it, even in between shifts. The chorus isn't one thing, the verse isn't one thing. And I just really appreciate that little nuance. It doesn't always happen. Sometimes they do go for the quiet versus loud, verse versus chorus thing. But occasionally we do get stuff like this where they control the energy in the middle of a section. It's not a static component. Um, and I really love that. And then that energy is controlled throughout the entire track as well. We do hit a very high point in our chorus, but our bridge takes us in a variety of different directions. We have a bit more of a subdued line where the vocals take presence and we're kind of building energy to the guitar solo. The guitar solo is pretty big and sweeping. Um, and then we have a return back down to a bass line that gradually rises back into our chorus rather than something that would jump from the more somber element to the more bombastic. It's just such a vast control of momentum and energy, and it continues to draw me to their music. Drumming is something else I love. Much like how our guitars dance between suspended notes and chords and faster, more melodic lines, our drums do the same thing. We have these moments where they do kind of lean into a beat, but we also see them perform some more melodic drumming. And it's always so tasteful. It never gets overdone, which I kind of wish in this song it kind of did. Just a little bit more from the creative side of the drumming. But the fact that we kind of get both sides, where it's metronome with fills and more creative use of the drum kit as a melodic instrument, we see a little bit of both, which makes me happy. Um, I think that about wraps this one up. I'm just really ecstatic about this. I really am. It like I said, I was a little worried going in because, bands change over time. It's been probably a good 12, 13 months between when they released their last one and when they started recording, and things change in years. So sometimes bands come out with albums and you're like, I'm just not feeling this one. And that, oh man, that even happened with me last year. I don't want to throw any shade or anything, but I'm not going to name a name, that's why. I was really stoked about this EP that came out in 2021. And when the full album came out in 2022, it was just okay. I was blown away by their EP. I was waiting for their debut album, and I didn't mind listening to it, but either I overhyped it based on the EP or something. But I was just like, yeah, well, that was okay. And I really don't want that with Hail the Sun because they were my AOTY in 2021. I want to I look forward to their releases. So, it's kind of stressful listening to new releases from bands and it's also a single too, right? I do feel like this was a little safer as far as some of the harsher elements. I mean, there were basically no screams in this one. There were no weird time signatures. It was a very palatable and digestible track. So, but this is typical also. They have some of those on their last album as well. So I got to keep that in mind. But I'm stoked. Like I really can't wait for this album. And there's no news about it in the description. Like usually it's like, hey, this is our single from our upcoming album that comes out in March. Pre-order it here. And there's like nothing in. I'm like, when's this album coming out? Maybe it's not an album. Maybe this is a single. I mean, it literally says it's their latest single from the band. So maybe that's all this is destined to be. I don't know. Now I'm kind of worried there isn't an album coming out. Guess it just gives me more time to look at their back catalog. Let's dive into some lyrics here and see what's going on. This is pretty typical. It's about well, it's a relationship between two people, which is pretty typical for their lyrical content, and also typical. It's primarily physical. Their relationship is, and it speaks to the ways that it probably isn't a good thing that they continue this relationship, but that they can't stop themselves from doing it. So it looks at a negative aspect of it. Again, pretty typical for their lyrics. Um, our chorus says, "Make your move. What your move? I've entered your veins, and I'm carving my way through your thoughts all at once." So saying, you, it's getting to a point where I'm the only thing you can think about. Um, we have a line at the end of our first verse that says, "The salt from your tongue sticks to my neck," uh, as a way of placing that reminder, right? Always thinking about you. There's a part of you that's still a part of me, kind of vibe. But the reason I think it's primarily physical is, especially our first verse says, "Shroud myself into secret. I only trust me to keep it." Uh, the calls I get scream at me all at once, so I switch the phone back to silent. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to text you, and I'm not going to let you know anything about me. But also, we bring in the physical element of the salt from your tongue sticks to my neck. So the connection, our narrator doesn't want to find its connection in the relationship, but they always think about the physical element of the relationship. Um, the refrain says, "This is the last time. I swear it's the last time. This can't be the last time. I swear it's the last time." And this was the ping ponging vocal bit, if I remember correctly. Um, Almost like it's a conversation or an argument. They know that they should not continue to pursue this, but they can't stop. The physical chemistry is uh, alluring. And that's pretty much the whole track. I can't really say that there's many elements in the music that tie into it, but that's kind of what I expect from Hell the Sun. Just really great music that works for me casually. Just I like to listen to a lot of the things they do, and lyrics that don't typically line up with that. Usually tell stories about romance and how bad things are, and how bad of a person the narrator is. It's all like emo self-deprecating stuff. So yeah, the fact that this is a bad relationship that our narrator refuses to get out of, it's right up there with a typical topic for Hell the Sun. Those are my thoughts on Hell the Sun's Mind Rider. What do you think? Did you enjoy it? Anything that stood out to you? Anything that you'd like to add on to what I said or correct me on? Let me know those ideas down in the comments. Above that, if you could, head into the description box, click on Linktree, go here. You can find a bunch of stuff related to the channel. You can find my music. You can find the community Discord server. You can find ways to support the channel, and so much more. Above that, like, subscribe, and ring the bell. I greatly appreciate all three. That wraps up this week. I hope to have my AOTY video out tomorrow. Um, it's got a little bit of work left on it, but I think we can get it done. Um, Otherwise, Sunday we have our Patreon live stream. Monday I'll try to get that out for everybody, and Monday we start next week's theme. So look forward to that. I don't know what it is though. Because yeah, it's the best of 2022. What are y'all's favorite tracks? I'm gonna tell you mine on Saturday, and then we'll explore some of yours throughout the week. Until next time, remember to be critical, not cynical, of the music you listen to, and have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening whenever you choose to watch my videos.